Hello and welcome to the Animal Like Protiste. So this is the end of the first section of notes on Kingdom Protista. So I think it's like middle of page 3 for you. We've got in your notes, go ahead and write in protozoan means first animal. They have a cell that contains a nucleus. That means they're eukaryotic, remember? They are cells that lack a cell wall, so cells with cell walls are usually plants or plant-like. They are heterotrophs, which means they have to eat something to get energy, and most can move on their own. There are 4 groups of animal-like protists. They are the sarcodines. Oh, sorry, I think if I turn off the sound, you might not hear anything, so we have to live with that typing noise. Ooh. Ciliates, flagellates, and sporozoans. Moving on to the sarcodines, they have pseudopods, which actually breaks down to false foot, pseudopod. So these are extensions of the cell membrane that are filled with cytoplasm, and think of an amoeba because that is the prime example of a sarcodine. And so they have the kind of feet that move, and then the cytoplasm fills in that area, and the amoeba can move forward. It can also use those pseudopods, those false feet, to trap food, engulf it, and surround it, and eats it. So it's used for movement and to capture food. Many of them have shells, and they can form these shells from limestone, marble, and chalk. One type of amoeba of saccharidine is the amoeba. That is the most common one. They are pseudopods. They have a contractile vacuole, which controls the amount of water inside. And they do this through osmosis from a lesser to higher concentration. And this is a concept you definitely need to understand. I'm going to put this video just in the back. Normally, when you're done with this, go back and watch the videos. But there is one on osmosis you really need to watch. There will definitely be questions on the test for osmosis that go along with this video, so you need to know it. And then they have food vacuoles where food is digested. Sorry, it feels like I've got a little cold coming on. I'm watching it closely. It's a good thing I'm at home. Amoebas reproduce by dividing into 2 new cells called binary fission. Amoebas can respond to their environment, and they are sensitive to light and some chemicals. So they can either move towards light and towards chemicals if it's something that seems friendly for them, or they can run away, or that adaptive avoidance behavior to avoiding the lighter chemicals, depending on if they feel at a dangerous situation. So they can respond to their environment. Okay, the next group are called the ciliates. They have cilia on the outside of their cells. I don't know if you can see it here, but there's like these little fuzzy lines all along this opening here. That's the cilia up there. And they're little tiny like hair-like projections used for movement and to gather food and for feelers. So these cilia are constantly moving, and it's either bringing in food or helping them to move or to feel things. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, the next is the paramecium. Oh, here we go with our sound again. I love it. So they have a pellicle, which is a tough outer shell. And so if you see here on this paramecium, so that is the most common type of ciliate. It has these little hair-like cilia all around the outside there, okay? And then this thicker white thing is their pellicle, so the tough outer wall. It does move though, so it can change shape a little bit. It is slipper shaped, so it's oblong, and it has an oral groove which acts like its mouth. Okay, so that's where it will take food in. It does have a gullet which holds the food. And then it has food vacuoles, which digests the food. So it's this single cell that can do all this stuff just like kind of your body works, right? The paramecium also has an anal pore, which removes wastes. The parameciums have two contractile vacuoles, okay? So those are the two water-removing organelles inside them. There's also two nuclei. And then it reproduces either by binary fission or by conjugation. And conjugation is getting close enough to each other to be able to touch and swap DNA. So one way to remember conjugation, a conjugal visit for somebody who is in prison can have their spouse or significant other come in to visit them, and they will be given their own room, and they can have their little meeting together. So a conjugal visit. Flagellates. Oh, sorry guys. Flagellates. Zooflagellates, they have a flagellum, which is a long whip-like structure that is used for movement. Many live inside animals. Now, when it comes to animals living inside or with a real close relationship with each other, there's a symbiosis relationship, which is a close relationship where at least one of those organisms benefits. And then there's mutualism, and that's where both of those partners benefit. An important one to remember is the trypanosoma. So this would be a great example of this. It causes African sleeping sickness, and it's usually transmitted by the bite of an infected tsetse fly. So this one also, watch the video on this tsetse fly, and then I'm also figuring out how to download. We'll have to see if I can do it. I have to download it on my personal computer. It's called Death by Tsetse Fly Monsters Inside Me. It's only 3 minutes long, but it's way more interesting than this other more informational type of video on the tsetse fly. So I will definitely get that on there too, and it'll be entertaining, I promise you. So watch those videos. The last one then are the sporozoans. Sporozoans are all parasites, which means they eat off the cells or body fluids of another organism, usually animal. It forms from spores, which are tiny little reproductive cells, therefore the sporozoan, okay? It passes from one host to another, and these hosts could be ticks or mosquitoes or other animals, and then onto humans. So many of these are can cause serious diseases and even death. So the most common one for you to remember for this would be a plasmodia, and the plasmodia is transferred through mosquitoes. And it causes the disease malaria. It is thought to be the deadliest disease over all of human history. So if you were to count up deaths by disease, malaria would have the most. And even now, 500,000 deaths a year are caused by this plasmodia through mosquitoes. Okay, usually in where mosquitoes would live in the more wet, humid climates. And then we've got a video on this one to watch. So for this video, it's really interesting. It talks about the CRISPR and how we can actually go in and change genes and slice things out or add things. And it talks about how we can do this to the mosquitoes, and should we? So this is kind of still where we're at with gene editing you know, I mean, we talked before about selective breeding, right? And um, sure, we can put these breeds together and make them mate and get something that we want. It's often not beneficial for that organism, right? So for this, with you know, people are thinking, well, it's a mosquito, right? Really, what does a mosquito do besides cause disease and be pests for us, right? So, but then there's other things to think about as well. I mean, who knows what could go wrong with this? So, very interesting. Watch that video too. There will probably be questions from it on the test, and it's just fun. So that is it. Oh, yes. And then there'll be one more video that I put on there, okay? Watch that one. It's kind of an overview. It talks about how these different um, uh, protist organisms move, like with their flagellum and their ciliate and stuff. So watch it. It's important. It's good information to know, and it really will explain some of the stuff that we've gone over. Now, you only need to watch up to about 8 minutes of it. If you want to watch the whole thing, great, but just watch the first 8 minutes at least. Okay. After this, you will have the paramecium worksheet to do. I also have a amoeba worksheet that's on there, and then you should have seen, hopefully I talked about the euglena worksheet from the first video. So that's it for this first section of notes, pages 1 through 4 for Kingdom Protista. Along with them, the 3 read color labels, euglena, amoeba, and paramecium. Get those done, colored, labeled, and sent back to me in an email for full points, okay? Make sure it's colored too. Sounds great. Any questions? Contact me. I've always got my email near. And I'm changing this Google Meets to just once a week. So for zoology, it's Mondays at 1 o'clock. So please come and join on that. I mean, I might be introducing some new concepts or just clarifying things that we've already talked about, and definitely answering questions from anybody who has any. That's also a time too. If you've got your worksheets done and you're having problems emailing them back to me, just jump on the Google Meet and show me in front of the camera, and I'll give you the points. Okay? It doesn't have to be complicated. We can make this really simple. If you need a one-on-one Google Meet, I'm here for you for that too. Just email me. We'll make it happen. Okay? Okay. Hope you guys are doing great. And we'll be moving on to, in the same unit, we're moving on to sponges, which is the kingdom Animalia phylum Porifera. So be ready for that next week. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. See you later.